The lineups for the 2019 Digicel Grand Prix finals were released on Wednesday, 3 days ahead of the big showdown at GC Foster College in Angels, Spanish Town, St. Catherine. Among the big events will be the under-20 boys 100 meters final, which will see a rematch between Jamaica's Youth Olympic Games representative Macaulay Everett of Jamaica College and World Under-20 finalist Michael Stevens of Calabar. Everett beat Stevens at the Corporate Area Development Meet at the National Stadium last Saturday. Stevens then returned to anchor Calabar to victory in the sprint relay and afterwards made a strong statement declaring, "Big man a big man, boy a boy." Stevens suggested his defeat was down to his lack of races this season. Let's have a look at the full field for that under-20 boys 100 meters. Kishane Thompson from Garvey Masseur, Everett, JC, Rohan Watson from York Castle, Giovanni Purser from St. Mary High, Stevens from Calabar, Dashnell Dyer from Stets, Emmanuel Agenor from St. Jago, and Jaheim Henry from Moran Bay. We are joined by Dwayne Extol. Dwayne is Media and Public Relations Manager for Solrickson, organizers of the Digicel Grand Prix series. Welcome to the SportsMax Zone, sir.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a while, actually.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, let's start at the obvious place. Michael Stevens versus Macaulay Everett. What's in store for fans?
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. It's always a good rivalry between those two. Ever since they were in Class 3, Michael Stevens, as you said, hasn't run this much this season, but to come to the Grand Prix just to qualify for the Grand Prix final, and he usually has something up his sleeve. Didn't get the best of starts in that race, and he was coming from behind. Let's take a look at it. Macaulay Everett, they had to run a strong headwind. So these two have some history, and it's gonna be a fantastic show at the Grand Prix final.
Did you do well for persons who weren't there and are only seeing it now? Should they put any store in Stevens' claim that because he was undercooked, so to speak, that was partly the reason for his defeat?
Yeah, and that's how he operates throughout the season. Whether it's last year or the year before, he went on to the World Under-20 Games to run 10.20, one of the fastest juniors we've ever had in history. So you saw his leg on the relay. He's in great shape, and I'm looking forward to a great matchup between the two.
He's always had some uncertainty about his wellness physically. You're suggesting, based on what you've seen and what you know, that he's free of injury and he's ready?
I wouldn't say free of injury, because there's always a little niggle here and there, but I think mentally this young man is one of the toughest I've seen as a junior athlete for Jamaica.
What about him mentally though? Because there is concern about his mental strength and his focus. He always seems so casual and sometimes you're not sure what's going on in his mind, because physically he's blessed with a lot of talent, that is for sure. But what about his mental game?
Yeah, it fools a lot of people. I think it throws a lot of people off when he operates the way he does, because his first year in Class 1, he stepped up in Class 1, the 100 meters. So there's no question for me about his mental readiness. It's always a matter of which Michael Stevens shows up on the day. And I think this weekend, we'll see the real big man.
Yeah, before we leave the boys, Sachin Dennis, I hear that he has an injury, a very promising young sprinter out of St. Elizabeth Technical for a few years now. He's off competition at the moment.
But for now, he hasn't competed all season, and the Digicel Grand Prix, the GC Foster leg, is the last chance to qualify for champs. So if he doesn't show there, I'm very doubtful that he'll be at champs. He picked up an injury chasing Chris Taylor last year in his last race of the season. Chris ran 10.11, Sachin 10.20 in that race. So I really don't think he needs to be at champs. If he needs to recover, take his time, because he is definitely a star for the future.
I think so. Yeah.
Speaking of stars for the future, Kivona Davis, 200 meters. She has been catching birds this season so far. Another big performance in store from her on Saturday.
I think birds have tried to catch her. That's how fast she is. But she's been tapered this season. Hasn't been running at a lot of meets. She's been testing her leg, testing her speed, and I feel that this time she isn't where she was last year, because I think the coach Dyke has backed her off a little bit, because she's been injured every year at the end of the season, so she hasn't performed at the World Under-20 Games, and she went to Nairobi, Kenya, got third. So he wants to, for her to transition a little better. Yes. I mean, there's help outside from, other coaches who will remain nameless, so they are giving him guidance as how to groom this young lady.
It's interesting you made that point, Dwayne, because I've heard some whispers. You know how people are. My wife is prettier than yours, my coach is better than yours, I'm a genius, he's an idiot. that narrative has bled into the management of Kavala Davis, and some have suggested that the reason she's been so injury-plagued is because of poor management from Michael Dyke. Given your informed seat, would you share that perspective?
I wouldn't. Michael Dyke is very adept at what he does. He's a good coach, he's a good person manager as well. So I don't think he really runs his athletes to a wreck, because he manages them well. He has great talent. He's had great talents before. So I think the misconception is that because he has fast athletes and they get hurt, because sometimes these young athletes are just going too fast.
Yes.
You know, and they can't help it. When they get to championship, it's this youthful exuberance that they want to show it for the crowd. So it's not necessarily the coaches, but sometimes athletes, they grow up a little faster than they need to.
Yeah, one quick word on Kavala before we move on. I saw Merlinati as a teenager. I saw Veronica Campbell as a teenager. And this girl, in my opinion, I don't want to overestimate her potential, but she looks heading in that direction to me. Olympic levels and gold medal levels. Am I overestimating her ability?
Not exactly, but there are a lot of other talented youngsters out there who coming from that same camp. There's a young lady, I saw her when she ran in class 4, Tina Clayton. For me, and I'll say this now.
Tina, the twins.
Yeah, I think they might be a little better than Kavala Davis in the future. In the future, but she's definitely a pearl, a gem for the nation. So I think with proper management, she will get there.
Yeah. What are the other major events that we can look forward to for the finals?
Well, for me, it's the boys 800. It's going to be a cracker. When you think of the lineup, Kimar Farquharson dipped below a minute 50. One of the first schoolboys to that in a long time, especially in my history. I haven't seen that, and it's going to be a chance to see him go up against the John Blackman of Jamaica College and Tyrese Bennett of Enid Bennett. These three boys have a chance to attack the national junior record at 148. You know, we'd love to see that before championship, but this meet this weekend gives you a chance to see what's going to happen. You know, on the girls' side, Akira Nugent, the world youth best sprint hurdler, moves up to the 400-meter hurdles, the second best in the field in the nation right now. So it's going to be great to see her.
Finally, Dwayne, I'm a Spanish Town man. I've been to the GC Foster College for many things. I can't wrap my head around lights being there yet, and the atmosphere that's set to be there for this massive event on Saturday.
Yeah, the difficulty with that, because with word about the Long Walk to Freedom, had to switch venues, and Coach Maurice Wilson spoke to him not too long ago. They're installing some new lights, so they should have 31 400-watt LED light bulbs out there by the GC Foster, and we're hoping that should be enough because of the late notice and all that, but the quality of performance will, you know, light the stadium.
Yeah, absolutely. So Rihanna said, "What? Shine bright like a diamond?" Like, yes. Yeah, there's going to be an array of stars, young stars, at GC Foster on Saturday for the final of the Digicel Grand Prix series. Big money popping, and the youngsters will be chasing the big check.